Hello and welcome, members of the Wonderverse. I'm Hannah.
And I'm producer Nick.
And you are listening to episode 46 of Into the Wonderverse, your one and only source into all things Scarlet Witch and Friends.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! I hope you missed us. We missed you. Honestly, I kind of felt weird, not doing the podcast for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a nice regular occurrence when it's been happening, and then we took the Christmas and New Year break to kind of recoup and spend time with family and all that jazz, and we've kind of come back maybe a little bit later than what we kind of originally wanted to, but no, I'm glad we're back.
And we're going to take a brief moment now to talk about, if you didn't know, we did something over Christmas. We released the first two commentaries over on our brand new spanking Patreon of Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, so that was released Christmas Day. They're free to listen to, so you don't have to pay for that. But as you probably guessed, like with Patreon, if you haven't heard this before, if you have heard this before, apologize. If you haven't heard it before, here it is. So we'll be releasing two commentaries a month, every 2 weeks. Working our way through the MCU. That's the plan, and then we're also going to be dropping, random commentaries, maybe depending on random films. Hannah might talk about some Formula One movie.
Yeah.
We might do a commentary on that. We're going to be doing like an exclusive live at least once a month
Mm-hmm.
for Patreon subscribers. And then you'll also get first dibs on any questions you want to ask when we get any interviews. You'll get first
Mm-hmm.
dibs on questions, and then
Yep.
any other exciting other things that we can.
And we'll prioritize your requests for things you want us to cover on here, or
Yeah,
little debates you want us to have. And I will make Nick react to any videos that Patreon subscribers send to us. So you can send your heated rivalry edits of Shane getting his cheeks clapped by Ilya, and Nick will have to react in full.
as somebody who's not seen Heated Rivalry, I'm really looking forward to having out of context videos thrown at me.
You
Um,
said you were going to watch Heated
I am I
Rivalry.
am going to watch Heated Rivalry. But that's what's coming on the Patreon. When it's for the low price of £5 a month.
Yep.
Don't feel as though you have to pay for it and you feel like you're missing out. We're still going to do the podcast, which you're listening to now. We wanted to give you the MCU commentaries. They've been kind of requested quite a bit, us talking about the MCU, a larger thing. So we kind of wanted to give you that. Plus, we've also got a third member of our kind of group coming
The
on
most
the
important
podcast.
member of our group.
My fiance and
My best friend. She was my wife first.
and she's behind a paywall only. Um,
Yeah, she's just too good for the public, for the
yeah.
GP.
So that's yeah. So as you're listening to this, you should have not only Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk on the Patreon feed, but you should also have Iron Man 2
Yep.
on the feed as well. And we got some lovely artwork, amazing artwork by Lily.
Yeah, it's my first it's not my first time being drawn, because I've been lucky enough to have some fan art in the past, because I don't know, I'm just really famous. But it was amazing to see us all together. I was a little bit emotional almost.
It was a cartoon. It was a cartoon, not a cartoon. A draw an artist version of me, and why don't I look like that good in real life?
Yeah. Well, we have to keep it our viewers' eyes happy.
Yeah. So that's the Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
We're dropping all the link with the Patreon link in the description, and if you keep an eye on our social medias, with the Film Nick on Instagram for myself, the Wonderverse for Hannah on Instagram and TikTok, and what we'll do is we're just gonna give you the link so you'll be able to get hold of it if you want to come and join us over on Patreon. So.
That is the hard sell done, and now we can get into some news. I'm going to start with the merch news, because it's been a little bit of a speedy. We've had quite a lot of merch drop for January, and then we will of course talk about the X-Men shaped elephant in the room. So we have a brand new ZD Toys figure, which has hit the market in Southeast Asia. So this is a 4-inch Scarlet Witch figure. She is a little bit busted looking, but you know what? I'm actually happy that we're getting to the point where she's being included in the cheap merch lines. Like, that's important to me. It
Yeah.
shows how popular she's become. So that's been seen in 7-Eleven in Thailand, and then it is available in Toys R Us in the Philippines. If you are elsewhere in the world and you have spotted it, let me know. I'm so grateful to you guys who like you come to my inbox and you tell me if you've seen merch. It's so nice and sweet, and like I feel like a real news reporter, you know, I'm getting tips. And then we have had our very first Scarlet Witch Funko of the year announced, which is a Target Con exclusive. So Target Con is actually just this thing where Target release Target exclusive Funko Pops, and they call it a convention, but it's actually just kind of like you can go into the store and buy it, as far as I'm aware, or online. So on the 23rd of the 2nd, the Scarlet Witch sketch Funko will be released. The exciting thing about this is actually our first modern comic book Funko. So it is the Scarlet Witch in the Russell Donterman design, which is what we've been begging for. And I imagine since they have this mold for the sketch design, I imagine we'll see a colored version of this. And my guess, and this is just a guess, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong, is that because this is mirroring the Scarlet Witch 10 comic book cover, I think that we will get a comic cover Funko with this on. That's my guess, and we'll see if I'm right
Do you,
later on in the year.
so the sketch one, when's that one out?
That is the 23rd of February.
23rd of February. So that will be well into the run at that point. It's also Supreme, which spoiler alert we're talking about in this episode. Um, you so your thoughts are we're gonna get like a color one to go with this.
Yeah, I would. It would be very strange to have made this mold and to not give a colored one as well as the sketch. It's
Have
almost weird that the sketch is coming out first.
have Funko released sketch versions of characters before?
Yes, but usually it's of an established mold.
Okay, so this is the other way around they're doing it.
I think it's maybe just that the Target they wanted to put something out that was Target exclusive. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe this will be a one-off. Um,
Maybe
but
try
it's
and get maybe we can try and get hold of Funko, find out what's going on.
I have like such a bell to Funko that they tell me everything.
Well, you never
Same way
know.
I
You never know.
it's so funny though because people will be like, "Oh, what do you like know about Doomsday?" I'm like, "I'm on the set all the time." So, you know,
Don't say
uh
that. Sarcasm's not a podcast friendly medium.
then Her Universe have gifted us some very January merch. We have a cropped athletic hoodie, and I do want to be really clear, this is an athletic hoodie. So it is made of breathable material. It is not normal hoodie material. I've seen a couple people getting it and then being confused because it's like a silky material and it is cropped. If you want a full hoodie that's the Scarlet Witch, Her Universe also do one of those. It's got the crown on the hood, but pick that up if you're looking for a normal hoodie because this is athletic wear. And there is also an athleisure dress that has come out for the Scarlet Witch, also Her Universe. So you can pick that up as well. Um, Over at Box Lunch, they have Marvel Rivals pajama bottoms that are unisex. So woohoo for the boys that have the Scarlet Witch on, though she is dangerously close to the crotch. Which like I was like, okay when I saw it. Then we have had a bunch of Marvel Rivals merch release in Japan. So they have had an acrylic standee, they have had a keyring, like a plastic keychain, and a bookmark and a pin, all of those. And then I can't remember if I announced before the Christmas break about the uh Hero Clicks, but there's a bunch of Scarlet Witch. There is a new Scarlet Witch Hero Clicks figure, which is her in her Russell Dontman costume as well. And we've had a new Scarlet Witch pin, which is available as a part of a mystery box at also at Box Lunch. It's like a medal style. I'm sorry if that was said before the Christmas break. It's just hard to remember what I did or did not reference before then. So yeah, we've been pretty. It's been a good first couple days in January. I've been busy over on TikTok announcing all this stuff, and I will obviously keep you all informed as we go along. And technically it is the 5-year anniversary of WandaVision this year.
Okay.
So we will see if we get anything for that
So
this year.
one of my Christmas presents I got this year was a so me and my fiance have this tradition where on Christmas Eve we give each other a book to read over the Christmas break, and I got the MCU. It's called like The Rise of the MCU by Joanna Robinson and a couple of other authors that I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, it goes over basically the story of how the MCU kind of came to be, like all the background kind of stuff that you don't actually hear about day to day. So from someone like myself, like I know like the major beat points, but it fills in a lot of blanks. Um, uh, so yeah, and one of the things that I'm going to finish the book and I'm going to go do a little book report next week. That's my aim because there's a few things in there that are really interesting when it comes to some of the stuff that Hannah's spoken about before, where it's about the lack of merchandise around female heroes.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna kind of like pepper that in there because we're talking about like toys and stuff, and like to kind of get around this. To basically, the 2026 mantra is like, if you want more of it, you got to buy it. That's very
And
much
that's what we are
the
seeing
mantra
with
with it.
Wanda. Like,
Yes,
her getting this low budget figure over in, like, I'm not knocking it. Like, you know that I will buy any Wanda,
you will.
especially it's very affordable. I don't know how affordable it'll be when it gets to us, but it's very affordable over in Thailand and the Philippines. So it's not like they're charging a premium price for what looks like a bit like a McDonald's toy, you know?
Yeah.
Um, you've got to buy it. There's a reason why Wanda is the woman now included in sets, and but we just have to keep using our purchasing power in order to get more merchandise. It
But like
is.
like I said, I'll do my little book report on like the ins and outs and kind of give you guys, the listeners, like a bit more of the context behind why me and Hannah are very much like, the female fronted heroes are, there's the token woman kind of thing. We'll give you a bit more context behind why that is the case. And as so if anyone doesn't already guess, yes, it has something to do with Trump, believe it or not. So
um
yeah,
um
sorry,
but yeah, so that
throw off the narrative there with the
I
mention.
was like, what? But and then of course, also Wonder Man promo has been ramping up. We're not going to talk too much about that this week because we're going to be focusing a lot on Wonder Man in the coming weeks. Next week, like we're gonna do his origin story basically, and then his comeback
Yes,
in the comics is what we're gonna cover next week. And then as we get close to the show, we'll do an episode focused on his relationship with Wanda and Vision, and so we're not going to get into the Wonder Man trailers this week because there's been the last time we were here, we were whining and moaning and complaining, and
I
as
was
was a
not
lot of
happy.
the space.
Was not happy.
And I have to admit, the X-Men trailer really gagged me.
So last time you kind of left us, like we saw the Steve Rogers trailer, and I wouldn't say was it, is it leaked at that point?
It
It
had
was
leaked.
leaked,
It hadn't.
but
We
like
didn't
hadn't
even
been
have it
fully
in high def, but
released.
it didn't really matter.
It didn't really matter because anyway, and I was rightfully in my mind. I think I was really angry. I was like, that's your lead up, and then like the second leaked trailer was the Thor one, which I was like, that's kind of your lead up. Like it's quite
I
down.
didn't mind the Thor trailer because I liked they didn't. One thing I liked is that they didn't completely like. They were like, right, what happened in Love and Thunder happened. I was worried that like we were gonna get another like reset thing where they just ignored everything that happened in that movie.
I'll be honest
Him,
with you, I totally forgot he had a daughter called Love.
well, but like, and I actually really liked him going, and I thought it was scary. I thought that it actually reminded me a little bit of the build up to Ultron,
Yeah,
him going off to the forest to pray. I liked that. I thought that trailer. I think that should have been the first one.
yeah.
Again, this. I had nothing. It wasn't anything revolutionary, but I think as like since we haven't had, because obviously they were leading to Kang and then that hasn't happened. Since we haven't had like two phases teasing this villain. I thought that Thor being scared was a really good way to set tone, and is showing not telling, which I liked.
Yeah. We've also had recently and had a kind of the other another trailers leaked, which is the Wakandan and Fantastic Four one, which looks pretty cool. I guess like it's cool to see M'Baku and interacting with Ben Grimm. Love that. But then the one that kind of really got everyone excited was the X-Men one.
It's so honestly, Charles Charles and Eric playing chess, Cyclops looking that like badass. I thought it was great. It really made me. I was so nervous for this X-Men return, and suddenly I'm like, hello. When the Cyclops like blast, like Sonic Blast, absolutely. I saw it in such bad quality, and then I saw it again in high def and like gasped again. I think it looks so good, and I'm really hyped. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, no, it's the best trailer of the lot that have been released so far. I think that it is really really cool to kind of see Cyclops in that outfit, and like to see Eric and Charles again, or that at least that version of Eric and Charles is well. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen playing Eric and Charles, not
Yeah.
necessarily the versions that we've kind of grown up watching. But like I think what's kind of interesting is that there is this play on nostalgia, I think, when it comes to the X-Men. And what kind of maybe doesn't sit right with me a little bit is the fact that the credits for Deadpool and Wolverine had a whole like over the credits was like, oh, let's say goodbye to the X-Men and the Fox universe, and set to Good Riddance Time of Our Life by Green Day, and yet we're just kind of gonna wheel them back out again.
I think that that was inevitable after the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, honestly. And I think that we know they left that door so very much open when we did the whole Void concept. I think that until we do Secret Wars, was always kind of going to be on the table. And I've decided to just make my peace with it. Like, I did a lot of whining and moaning before Christmas. And I've decided that kind of going into this year, I'm gonna be positive until I see something that I'm negative about. Like I see a lot of rumors about things I don't like, and I'm like, they're just rumors. And so until I see I'm not happy to see Peggy Carter back. We all know this. But until I actually I'm not gonna dwell on. I think these. I've been really happy with all the trailers that have come out since the Steve Rogers one. I'm really excited to see what the new Spider-Man trailer is gonna look like. Really excited for Wonder Man. I want to go into this year, I think, with being positive until I have something to whinge about. I think because this is supposed to be the thing I enjoy,
Can I
and so
can I
just
be a
whining all
little
the
bit more,
time doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah, can I be a little bit more cautious?
It's your life.
So like for those that don't know, I did my master's dissertation on kind of how Marvel and Sony ended up working out the Spider-Man deal and kind of what that means to like the future of kind of comic book filmmaking. It's one of the things that I did a whole like chapter on how nostalgia is kind of being like, I'm not say weaponized, but like it's being used as a tool basically to get people to be excited. So nostalgia is rather than having action sequences and moments of like character catharsis to make these powerful moments. Example being say Captain America picking up Thor's hammer in Endgame. That was a moment of character development that had been in works, and it felt like very much like a powerful thing. And you compare that to what Sony did with Spider-Man No Way Home, where the appearance of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire was very much treated in that same moment, but it comes from a place of nostalgia because nostalgia is something that we all grew up with. Now, um, I'm in the process of watching Mad Men, rewatching Mad Men at the moment, And there's a quote in Mad Men which has kind of been resonating quite a lot with me, and I even used it in my dissertation, where the quote goes, in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart far more powerful than memory alone. And it aches, like you end up aching to go back to that place where you were before. And that's kind of where I'm at with the X-Men thing and with how Disney is using characters like that to, make us excited. The fact that me and Hannah, both of us are more excited by watching the X-Men trailer over the kind of the other couple trailers that have come out. And I think a lot of that is because of both of us grew up watching those movies from, X-Men came out in 2000. I was 10. I think you were about 5 or 6. Um, and like maybe a little bit older when you kind of grew up watching those movies. And I think where I'm kind of wanting to be more cautious with is like maybe try and I mean myself included, like try not to get swept up in the nostalgia as
I don't think
swapping
I
it
will
out
say
swapping it out for character development, character
I never
capacity.
watched X-Men, that those movies growing up. I My first X-Men movies, like, it just wasn't something I was interested in. My first X-Men, I watched the X-Men and the Wolverine cartoon
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than the movies. Honestly, nostalgia bait to me would be putting Fassbender and
yeah,
uh, for me it's more that I think I've never been massively invested in um since his first movie. Like, I think it's just that I'm invested in those characters more than I am in a lot of the characters that are. I mean, that's not true. They're not showing the Thunderbolts. If we got a Thunderbolts trailer, I would be like, more up. I think of the trailers, they're the characters that I am now the most invested in,
yeah.
because I was a huge Steve fan until the ending of Endgame, and I like the Fantastic Four just fine, but I'm not like they're not who I'm most excited for. I think that the reason that that trailer got me the most hype personally was more that I'm just like Cherrick served the old fashioned way, and excited to see Cyclops get used in a less annoying way, I think. I'm
Okay,
actually excited to see the X-Men. I know we're going to see it anyway, but without centering Hugh Jackman.
okay.
But just like agreeing to disagree.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's good that we're both of us kind of coming at this at different angles. Maybe it's just because I'm a bit more older and cynical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't know. I think that, like, it's 2026 and 6 is my lucky number, and also I've been told that my that pigs, as in the Japanese, not China, but the Chinese zodiac, are going to do well this year, and last year was really not my year, and so I'm determined for this year to be my year.
Okay.
Um
I've
so
got, I've
yeah,
got a good segue into something being this year.
go for it.
So, Ultimate Endgame, issue 1 of Ultimate Endgame got released. Um, so this is just your little periodic kind of recap as to kind of what's going on. I did read through the whole of Ultimate Black Panther finally over Christmas, and I caught up on everything else: Wolverine, X-Men, Spider-Man, Ultimates, to kind of catch up on where we're at with Ultimate Endgame. Um, do I do spoilers? It's been out. It's been out a week now. It's been over a week, isn't it?
Yeah, just I
Yeah,
think that people that listen to this podcast really only keep up to date with the storyline through you.
yeah.
So
So so the city has kind of been opened, and the Maker has been trapped in this city that's basically been stopped for, I don't want to say stopped, but basically been developing for 1,000 years inside the city, inside the dome. Whereas outside it's only been 2 years, but inside it's been like thousands of, it's like 1,000 years. The Maker is basically turned himself into a city, basically like a powerful supercomputer. It's the final panel is quite weird and quite Strange, and I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing how that unfolds. Kind of outside the dome, Iron Lad's kind of call to arms led to a lot of people kind of uprising, which has been really great to kind of see in this universe. But what happened was the helicarrier, which is controlled by Hand, which is from the Makers guys, agents. They destroyed the Triskelion, which had a load of heroes on it. We found out that we already knew, but the characters in the universe found out that Wasp was actually a double agent and been working for Nick Fury and Hand. And at the final panel of the Ultimates, it is revealed that Janet has been working on her version of Vision, who is a female Vision, shows up right in the final panel, and design of it is really really cool. So I don't know if we're obviously the Ultimates universe is ending at some point this year. So I don't think we're going to get a replicate a version of the Vision's Wanda love story with these two characters. Highly doubt it. I'm sure some fan will kind of come up with some sort of thing, but remember that Wanda in this universe is like 12. Um, so just keep that in mind if you try and do that. The Wolverine, Ultimate Wolverine, has Ilya Rasputin has gone missing, and Wolverine kind of has to like find her now, even though she was on the other side. Ultimate Black Panther is having this fight with Vibranium, which is kind of strange, but quite cool. And then the Ultimate X-Men line, I really don't want to give away any spoilers because like I feel it's really difficult to kind of understand what is actually kind of going on by itself. Yeah, I think you just need to read it and kind of absorb Peach Momoko's artwork. So that's kind of where the Ultimates is at the moment. Um, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. No Wonder this week on the Ultimates, but I
Wonder Watch.
want to watch. I do feel like she's gonna pop up at some point. The integration of all these extended characters in the extended Marvel universe, and if it does feel as though Wanda and Pietro were benched a little bit, and they will come into play at some point in this comic book line, especially with their association with the Maker and the association with Captain America in this line. So that's kind of what I'm feeling with this. So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see what happens next.
And that is your Ultimates update from Nick. And now we are, of course, moving on to our um
Much promised.
the the first issue of Sorcerer Supreme came out on the 31st of December. I did do a brief review over on TikTok that you can look at. But before we get started, no spoilers, but like just thoughts without spoilers before we get into it.
Thoughts without spoilers. Um, yeah, no, it was pretty cool. It's interesting to see how she got to where she is, and to see the relationship between her and other characters within kind of Doctor Strange's world, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Um, the artwork is incredible. There's no
Bernard Chang absolutely killing it on this.
absolutely killing it, and there's like one particular panel, um, which I won't say panel, but a two-page spread, which is really really cool. Um, again with her and against Dormammu, we get to see her kind of very much taking charge, I think, in a very strong way. So, yeah,
Yep.
no, I that's spoiler free thoughts. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna bother because you know I'm incapable. That's why I let you do it.
I mean, I read
Um,
it. And my spoiler free ending for this is like, read it. Definitely read it if you haven't already.
and then so this issue obviously follows on from the end of World Under Doom, where Wanda was obviously announced as the Sorcerer Supreme. Um, and opens very like goes straight into the action. The artwork is, I'll say it again, incredible. Bernard Chang does just mwah. in this.
Chef's kiss.
It's really beautiful to look at, and like when I'm holding the comic, I'm like, I want to eat this a little bit.
Don't eat it.
Well, I have 3 copies because of the variant covers, so like I could probably chew one. Um, but sorry. Um, it opens. Dormammu is attacking New York, and he's like, "Yo, where is your protector now?" And Wanda's like, "It's me. I'm the protector." She comes in, and he's like, "You, the Vishanti will never accept you." Wanda's basically being set up as a rebel, which I find quite funny. She's being set up as this like kind of like maverick. Whereas even though Strange, kind of in the MCU, like obviously he at first is like against the rules and trying to cut corners, whereas they're really kind of setting Strange up as like the old guard and Wonder is this kind of new, doesn't follow the rules. She's too cool for school. Sorcerer Supreme. For those of you who are wondering, this comic does address what Klee is up to, so don't worry because I've seen some concern around that. If and basically, not that anybody who's listening to this podcast would be, but the main complaints I've seen about this is basically that people don't like Wanda. This Sorcerer Supreme run is a Scarlet Witch run. If you don't like Wanda, you're not gonna like this run. Like, it does obviously take characters from Stephen Strange's world, but if you are predisposed to not enjoy a Wanda story, then I wouldn't bother tuning in for this comic. I was surprised how many people in my comments were like, it was very Wanda focused, and I'm like, well, yes, it's her writing team with some of her art, with her supporting cast being blended with Stevens. So if you are not into that, I wouldn't bother tuning into this run. Again, not that I think anyone that listens to this podcast specifically would be in that category.
One of the things I think what's interesting with these first few pages is that it sets up. We don't do power scaling on this podcast, but it sets up the power that Wanda does have as a Sorcerer Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
Because in One World Under Doom, they have to have the Avengers and Doom himself and Doom's Doombots fighting Dormammu to defeat him, and Dormammu has to get sent to a different realm by Doom. Um, like he nearly loses. Doom nearly loses as the Sorcerer Supreme. And they have to basically the Avengers and everyone has to work together to defeat Dormammu. Whereas in this, it's like first 4 pages, she like knocks him out. And
Yeah,
I
she
don't know if
just gave
that's
him some trauma.
yeah,
She
she just
might have some trauma.
yeah, like here's 1,000 years of trauma, dude. Um, and it's like it's interesting that they've gone with that angle. I don't know if it's because Dormammu himself maybe is a little bit more weakened at this stage because he's kind of like escaped from the dimension that he was sent to. So, but yeah, no, it's an interesting starting point because it's like, hey, you guys, if you read One World Under Doom, you would know that Dormammu is pretty damn powerful. Here's Wanda basically defeating him in like 4 pages.
I fear that that's more to do with the comic books change how powerful people are kind of based on,
I
you
guess,
know.
but like I mean, usually that happens in over the space of like decades. I'm this is in the space of like 6 months.
Yeah, but we see that all the time, especially, well, you'll see it in any major event. You'll watch Wanda and Thor get benched really hardcore for no reason at all because they don't know how to deal with their power. Captain Marvel too.
Yeah,
It's just a problem when you have these really powerful people that you have to come up with like weird fuck ass villains for them or established villains, and uh, it seems like they want Wanda's conflict in this to be more almost internal within obviously the Vishanti than they do external. So they wanted to show her power and why she's different to other Sorcerer Supremes really quickly, but they didn't. That's not why we're here. I think is the like, yeah, Dormammu might be weakened. I don't know if they were thinking that hard. Um, I'll be so for real. It's an interesting way of presenting her because Wanda's never pre House of M anyway was never rebellious. She follows witchcraft. It follows on from the MCU of them being like, you can't do this. You're like, this is chaos magic, Wanda, kind of vibes.
yeah.
Um, So Wanda defeats Dormammu and hops back to the sanctum where Wong is not happy that she has taken up residence.
Well, first she stops off at the shop, and it turns out she sold the shop.
No, she's just given Darcy charge of the shop.
Yeah.
Which again, I liked the concept of the last door in the shop, I guess. And I guess we could return to it in the future. I mean, it was very much giving Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I like the shop, but yeah, I think as the Sorcerer Supreme, I think she needs a bit. The sword, the sanctum, sanctorum is probably where she kind of needs to be, not a shop.
So Wong is still resident, of course, as is Bats the ghost dog, so don't worry. They're both. Wong is not a fan of Wanda as the Sorcerer Supreme. Um, it's kind of this argument where she says that basically she used a last door to save the cloak and the eye, and they came to her as a last resort. Whereas other people are like, you stole them.
Yeah.
Is this kind of back and forth that the characters are having in universe.
We get her like cabinet meeting, which is quite cool concept. Where it is Speed, Wiccan, Clear, and who's who?
Dormammu and then Solar.
Solar. Not Dormammu, it's Chthon.
Oh, that's me. Sorry, that's me, Chthon.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my one issue, I think, with this run is that it's revealed at the end why she isn't, but this lineup of Magical Council is full of bums. It's like, well, it's not. Klee makes sense, and I think that Chthon makes sense.
Isn't herself? She's like got her own reflection in there as well. You notice that?
Just
You look at the panels, right? So,
hang on.
well,
Let me go pick up the comic from across the room. One
yeah,
second.
yeah. So I've got the page number a second. It is page 14.
This is why
So
you need physical media, y'all, because you can just pick it up.
yeah, on page 14,
Page
when she's looking at the
14.
mirrors,
Oh, you mean Amaranth's there? You talking about Amaranth?
is that who I'm talking about?
Yeah, her own of no, that's Amaranth. I forgot Amaranth, but yes,
She's not.
this
She doesn't
lineup.
talk in this.
Sorry,
She doesn't talk, does she?
no,
Oh no,
but
she does talk.
she introduces them all, and Amaranth is introduced like on the next page.
Yes, sorry. I thought it was herself. Sorry.
No, this lineup just feels like they didn't want to bring anybody too interesting in. Like I feel like
I mean, you say that,
Ileana,
but Chthon being there is quite an interesting person to have there.
he is, but like it should have been really this lineup should have been Magic, Jennifer Kale, um, Storm, and Agatha Harkness.
Well, the Agatha, or we know why,
Yeah,
but
but it's just the rewriting of that relationship is really starting to bother me now. As if Agatha isn't Wanda's most important magical advisor. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, but
It
we read the comic where like she gets her origin. Let's say her origin, but she gets like this new lease on life and reborn basically as this younger person. And
Yeah, I just really like looking at this lineup. I understand wanting to spotlight like younger characters like Sola. The champions run ending leaves Amaranth with very little to do. Speed does not possess magical ability.
no, but I
So,
think he's his son, and I think that's important for her.
yeah, but it's supposed to be this council on magic and I just think that like not including another important magic user, Klee is like has the most credentials here.
Apparently, Speed is the rapid response agent for the United Nations Sorceress Crime Service.
Yeah, but like as far if you were
So
looking for my
he's got some credentials. He's got some job credentials.
Jennifer, not including Jennifer Kale is a big. I fear that the Jennifer Kale problem is that they have not yet made her appearance in the comics match her appearance.
In Agatha Long.
Yeah, or Alice Wu, who like was introduced in a Scarlet Witch comic, The Wu.
Yeah.
I feel that those characters not being included, I wonder if they will show up in Witch's Road and with Wiccan instead. And I may keep my eye on that just to see if they my angels pop up. But she's having this role in the Storm Run, and I feel like especially not including a bunch of the characters that were considered for Sorcerer Supreme like Magic, just I just think that this council is a bit wishy-washy in
Okay.
terms of as an as a long-time fan. But I
No,
do
no
really like the
heavyweights.
inclusion of Chthon.
No heavyweights.
No,
Apart
yeah,
from Cleo and Chthon.
we're not punching. Yeah, again, Klee explains that she has gone to a different is the Sorcerer Supreme of a different dimension, and that's why she's currently not being Sorcerer Supreme of Earth while Stephen is gone. If you were wondering, because I did get some questions about that, or send some very angry Klee fans in my comment section. Um, but yeah, she has this magical council that's supposed to keep her accountable, basically.
Which is a good idea.
Yes, I agree. And then we see that the Vishanti really, really fucking don't like her ass.
Yeah, we get like a flashback in terms of what happened. So like Chthon is basically grilling her and being a bit of a dick because you know he's a dick, and she gives this um kind of reciting basically what actually happened with the cloak of levitation, the Eye of Agamotto, and the fact that she found them lost, and they came to her like because they wanted to be like they wanted her, not the other way around. Um, which I think is where the Vishanti come into it, where they're basically like, "What you doing? They don't belong to you. They can't make their own decisions. They and this is kind of idea like maybe it's like a slavery kind of idea in there a little bit. The fact that these items have their own agency, but in actual fact they don't because they have to be set upon with somebody, which I think might end up being a little bit of an arc with this series, especially with how prominent it is in this issue.
Yeah, I agree. And we that like that's the main kind of we see Wong basically being like literally this first issue really is just kind of giving you the backstory of how she got the items, the conflict which is that she is not wanted by the establishment and that she is an outsider.
Yeah.
Uh, Setting up her council, and then she takes the ghost dog for a walk. And then we get the reveal that the Vishanti have created their own champion, which is Agatha Harkness, which is insane and ridiculous if we take our Agatha's current characterization into like consideration, since she just recently created a living Darkhold.
I think what's also really interesting is like when you're running through this issue, we are getting a lot of different panels, like pages with different where the panels are kind of played out in a different way, like to kind of give an idea about what's kind of going on with the issue, and to obviously make it more dynamic and more exciting and much more interesting to read. And then we get these like return to normality panels, so we get a six panel page with Wong making tea, and then we get this nine panel page with Wanda walking the dog, and this is very much like this return to like a sense of normality. So a deliberate kind of way of like, oh, let's we've had the excitement, let's bring it down a little bit, and then we get the big reveal of Agatha Harkness,
Yeah,
which you have issues with.
yeah. I understand what's being set up here, but I it just is very different from Agatha's established presence within the comics beforehand, and setting her up as kind of Wanda's main rival almost, when that is really not historically her position,
Yeah.
is a little bit sad, but you have to accept what comes, I guess. um and we'll see, maybe the writing will be really good and it'll win me over.
I mean the I mean the kind of like the blurb for the next issue has it basically says Wanda defied the Vishanti and seized the title of the Sorcerer Supreme, but the Vishanti won't take the insult dying down. It's Sorcerer Supreme versus Sorcerer Supreme as she challenges the Vishanti's anointed champion, Agatha Harkness. But with the Vishanti distracted by the battle over Earth, what rising threats have escaped their notice? So the implication there would be Agatha and Wanda have to work together.
Yes, and we know that she's going to have to go and face Madeline Pryor at some point.
Yeah.
And I love see like I'll forgive anything when my girl Madeline Pryor gets involved because as you know, I love Madeline Pryor. If I wasn't a Wanda stan, I'd be a Madeline Pryor stan. Someone called the Goblin Queen, that's my entire brand.
Okay.
I think this is a fine first issue. I'm glad to see them giving Wanda something to do. This is definitely something to do. It, kind of negates the complaints we've had where it just has felt like Wanda's kind of been meandering with Villain of the Week. I do a little bit wish that we'd gotten an issue. I still do kind of wish that it had we've gotten her getting the eye and the cloak and the Vishanti having a backlash against it as a first issue rather than that being a flashback. But I think that's maybe
Have
just
you,
personal preference.
do we know how many issues this run's going to be?
Well, it usually starts at 5 and goes, we don't usually get past 10. So we'll see.
So unlike Vision and the Scarlet Witch, which was announced as a 5 issue run,
No, this could be ongoing if
this
we
could be
sell
a
it.
run. Okay. I just wanted to kind of get the difference in where we're at because like the last ongoing Wonder comic we covered was Vision and the Scarlet Witch, and we knew from the get go that they only had 5 issues to kind of like basically do what they needed to. Whereas this we're kind of coming at it from a different angle where we're getting a series which it could be 5, it could be 10, it could even be more ongoing than that. It's highly doubtful because of who Doctor Strange is and the fact that he is the Sorcerer Supreme. In really, as much as we love what we would love for Wanda to keep hold of this title for a good few years, it's highly likely unlikely that that's going to happen. Especially because Doctor Strange has his own solo series, and there's going to be a lot of mystery behind what's going on with him. And I imagine where they're going to go with his arc is that eventually he will regain the Eye of Agamotto and the Cloak of Levitation.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I feel with it. But it's going to be interesting to see. We because with the last one, Vision and Scarlet Witch, we had the 5 issues, and both me and you complained throughout that we felt as though they were rushing and they weren't letting it breathe. Whereas at this
Yeah, I
point,
just still like I that's why I'm like you have this ongoing series. So again, I'm just a little bit confused why we couldn't have had an issue covering her becoming the Sorcerer Supreme in that way. And why they kind of like we had there is a variant cover of this issue with all these different people who could have become the Sorcerer Supreme only to then
not use that.
yeah, it you know what? We will see who like I don't think you can judge it. I don't think I can judge this run until I've seen at least 3 issues.
Yeah.
And an issue 3 has Madeline Pryor in. So,
I'm gonna say on the larger Marvel kind of universe as a whole, they are leading up to Armageddon. This kind of like big event that they're running this year, which is going to have something to do with the creation boxes that came from the Ultimates universe that Miles Morales brought over. Um, so I'd imagine at some point that's going to all lead in together. So I'm going to try and catch up on the main Avengers comic line to kind of
every once in a
where we're at.
while I hear what's going on in the rest of the comic universe and I'm like, "Right. Yes, that okay." Cuz someone asked me like what comics do you read very recently and I was like, "Mostly Scarlet Witch." And then occasionally I pan out and so much is going on
Yeah.
that I hadn't thought of.
One of the main I think Chip Zdarsky's running this Armageddon line, and I love that guy so much. I think he's a really great writer. I just kind of a bit. A lot of the complaints that I've seen from people have been we've just had an altering event. We've just had a universe altering event with the Doom storyline. Can we just let it settle for a little bit? Do we have to do this once a year?
I
Um,
agree with that. I feel like letting the characters breathe for a minute wouldn't,
hurt.
especially when, yeah. Oh no, yeah. Sorry, I thought that they'd announced an issue 9 for Sorcerer Supreme already, but it's the World Under Doom Scarlet Witch variant that
Yeah,
they've only just revealed now. That obviously we know a little bit more.
you're gonna get that.
Maybe. There's so many. One of my favorite, like, there's Russell Dontman is doing a variant cover for every single issue of Sorcerer Supreme, and I will have to get all of those. But I'm also obsessed with the Nimit Mavalda cover, Mavia, that's got like it's so gorgeous. Just the art that's coming out of these, I just love. I love art, Nick.
Have we had a Peach Momoko Scarlet Witch variant yet? Because I know she's done some art on her Instagram, but
Not for this run yet, but we've had them in the past for
yeah,
different other runs. Um,
my favorite artist at the moment.
well, Peach is an icon, a legend, and she is the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, excited to see where this will go. We'll be covering it as the issues come out. Obviously, we are going to be doing a focus on Wonder Man in the next couple weeks. So if you let us know, give us feedback on kind of what you want to know about Wonder Man, what um you're hoping to see. We will, keep up. We'll keep you updated and we'll fill in the blanks for you. Also, let us know if there are any comics or anything you'd like us to be covering on here. Like tell us and we're perfectly fine to you know,
We watched the Iron Man 1994 cartoon for you guys. Nothing is off the table.
so fair. That is so fair, Nick.
Like,
Um,
if I'm willing to do that, I think you can get me to read any comic book.
Abso-bloody-lutely.
Maybe not Spider-Man One More Day, but I think we're going we'll see. But yeah, honestly, give us if you want us to read like a particular line or something with Wanda related, then yeah, we'll get on that. And then so we like we said earlier on in the episode, Patreon is properly being launched, so keep an eye out on for social medias for links and for podcast description as well. There'll be a link to the Patreon. £5 a month, you get exclusive MCU commentaries. The first two are free, which is Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, and then the first paid one is Iron Man 2, and they'll be coming out every fortnight, working our way through the MCU. As well as that, we'll be covering any kind of non-MCU movies on a commentary, maybe if they pop up. Maybe once a month we might drop one. Where there might be a certain movie set in a fantasy land where there's a Yellow Brick Road. Um, Two of them,
no one mourns the wicked good
there
news.
it is. And maybe when we get up to Halloween, we might watch some movies featuring a certain married couple that do some demon hunting.
The
Um,
Conjuring. I thought you were gonna say it because obsession. Welcome to Derry is so good and you should watch it.
I should watch Welcome to Derry.
You should watch
Um,
what we should do is you guys should use the Patreon to force Nick to watch the things that he says he'll watch that he doesn't watch. So number one, Heated Rivalry is the
yeah,
best TV show of last year.
yeah.
But to be fair, Welcome to Derry was my close second. They both banged. He hasn't seen Adolescence. He obviously he's like we just did the first Captain America, so the Stucky of it all has just begun. We have recorded that already. I can tell you that the Yowie was not hitting, but we will hit him with the Yowie this year. Then of course, like some of you have been what I have loved is so many of you have been reaching out to me on particularly on Instagram, sending me Formula One memes. Thank you. Also, I just need to say this. This is my one Formula One reference this week, and it's at the very end of the episode. Do not buy the Kit Kat Formula One Easter egg. There's nothing Formula One related inside the Easter egg. Don't buy it. It's a waste of your £4.
Okay. Um,
That's a public service announcement from me to you because I love you all so dearly. So Yeah, check us out on Patreon. It's linked in the bio. But if you want short form content, you can find me over on TikTok at Into the Wonderverse. You can find me on Instagram at The Wonderverse on Twitter, Hannah Maximoff on Letterboxd, where, you know, I've been really mean to a bunch of movies this year already. And I'm about to watch a documentary about a guy who created a suit to try and live among grizzly bears. So we'll see how that goes. Nick, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, the Film Nick, and you can find me on Letterboxd at the Film Nick, where I'm not really posting anything because I'm watching Mad Men.
Well,
That's kind
cool.
of what I'm watching at the moment.
And then our wonderful artwork is done by, for both the podcast and Patreon, is done by the wonderful Lily, who you should follow and give all the love in the world. Music is by Melody Ray Griffiths. And until I see you next time, stay magical.